So it's the end of yet another week, and here on this channel that means one thing and one thing only. Every weekend I post an episode of this series we do called Your Take Not Mine, where I turn to you, the viewers, to give me your hottest NBA takes of the week based on what's going on at the time, and I then choose my favorite submissions and discuss them in a video. This week the NBA Finals officially got underway, and in the opener there were a ton of surprises, there were surprisingly great performances, and there was a massive comeback, plus off-season rumors are starting to swirl for the teams whose seasons are finished, so of course we have plenty to discuss. In order to submit your takes, I make a community post on either the day of or the day before the video, similar to the one that you see on your screen now, so if you want a chance to be featured in a future episode, be sure to stay on the lookout for that. Before we start though, I want to thank Prizepix for sponsoring this video. Prizepix is the perfect service for all of us basketball fans here because when you're involved, it makes watching the games every night so much more fun and engaging. Basically, it's an application that provides you with lines on all kinds of individual player props, such as points, rebounds, assists, three-pointers made amongst others, and you simply have to choose whether you believe they will record over the set amount in that line or under the set amount in the line. Make your selections, wager however much you want to, and if your picks hit, you can win some big money. For some picks that I'm looking at making for today's big game, I'm thinking of going with Jason Tatum to score over 25.5 points, Steph Curry to dish out over 5.5 assists, and Kevon Looney to block at least one shot. If this sounds at all intriguing to you, then go use the link down in the description of the video to sign up today and use promo code REFERENCE to receive a 100% deposit match bonus up to $100. Once again, thank you to Prizepix for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. The first take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Moskowitz, and he says that the Warriors have had the easiest path to the finals in a long time because of the Nuggets missing key players due to injury, the Grizzlies being incredibly inexperienced, and the Mavericks overachieving when they got to the conference finals. Now, after damn near an entire decade of dominance by the Warriors in the Western Conference, I understand that some people are just sick of them being on top and want something fresh, but discrediting them to this degree isn't fair to them at all after all of the hard work that they put in to regain their contender status after 2 down seasons in a row. Overall, I disagree with the take being brought forth here, but it does lead me to something that I've believed throughout the course of the season, being that the power in the league has shifted from the Western Conference to the Eastern Conference. The Western Conference for a long time has been the tougher conference, with more talent top to bottom and more contending teams, but this year I don't believe that was the case. Prior to the playoffs beginning, I discussed in a video that the only 2 teams that I believed could legitimately contend for a title from the West were the Warriors and the Phoenix Suns. Teams like the Grizzlies and Mavericks are up-and-coming teams that I can definitely see getting there in the near future, but aren't quite there yet, and it's not the Warriors' fault that the Suns choked away their series with a chance to face them in the conference finals, so the Warriors' path did become a bit easier. However, this is by no means an indictment on the Warriors, because they do deserve to be here, and they 100% are a dominant team regardless. This year's finals is between 2 teams that are well coached, disciplined defensively, and hard-nosed with the star power to put them over the top. Sure, the Celtics had a tougher road to get here, having to play the Nets, then the defending champion Bucks, then the Heat, but all that matters now is who wins 4 games first. The next take we'll be discussing today comes to us from PersonMan, and he says that the Lakers should just blow it up by trading everyone for picks and assets in order to rebuild. There's no denying that the Lakers are coming off of an absolute disaster of a season, and with LeBron James' time in the league dwindling, there is no easy solution to their problems. Russell Westbrook and his monster contract is a difficult thing to replace because the return for him in a trade would be minimal at best. They don't necessarily have desirable young players or picks to move for pieces that could turn things around, and they're already over the salary cap going into free agency, so there isn't a ton of significant money to spend. Based on everything I just said, you're probably thinking that they're screwed, and the idea to blow it up and rebuild is for the best, but ultimately some plans are only nice in theory and have no chance of ever actually happening in reality. With LeBron James and Russell Westbrook both only under contract for one more year, their actual best route is to just suck it up this year, play it out regardless of outcome, and when LeBron inevitably leaves in the offseason, as he's been hinting at doing to play with his son possibly, use the money freed up with that to build around Anthony Davis. Obviously, Davis's health and performance needs to hold up for his plan to be put into place, but he's still just 29 years old and should have many more years of elite play left in him. I don't necessarily think they have to start from scratch, but at the same time, next season is probably going to be very similar to how this year went. And finally, the last take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Column, and he says that Jordan Poole isn't good enough to compete with competent perimeter defense, and on any other team, he would be an above-average starter at best. Jordan Poole's stock has fluctuated a ton over the last year, starting the season as someone coming off of a stint where he spent most of his time in the G League. He then started to play with more confidence, and his shot-creating abilities solidified himself as the team's sixth man, then ended the year as someone that many people were calling to win the Most Improved Player of the Year award. And now, after just one poor performance in the NBA Finals, the tide is beginning to turn in the other direction against him. The correct answer, obviously, lies somewhere in between both of these extremes, as this is a clear overreaction, but not entirely wrong. When you're a talented player playing on the Warriors, you absolutely do get to benefit from their system. Steph Curry gets an absurd amount of attention from opposing defenses, which undoubtedly makes the lives of those around him easier. Draymond Green is also one of the best screen setters and playmaking forwards in the league, so if you're actively moving off the ball, then he will either free you up or find you with a look from a pass that'll be on the money. This same conversation has been had about Klay Thompson for years as well, as he's an all-timer with his shooting ability, but there is reasonable cause to question whether or not he could actually be a number one option on another team. Poole is unquestionably a fantastic scoring guard with a crisp handle and a quick shooting stroke, but we did see in Game 1 that good disciplined defenders can slow him down, and if he were on another team in a bigger role, he would face that kind of defense more often. Overall, I'm by no means saying that Poole isn't great because his shot-making ability is developing at a very promising rate, but he is probably best served in his current role as a sixth man. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the takes being discussed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.